Hello viewers, Amikan Ajibi, Congress Bhavan de aina ase aru amikan khopor paise ki yade press conference ekta julibuli ase aru itu nuhina Khekashe Sumi Akuloto laga constituency laga candidate ekta tai Congress join gura laga press conference dibuli ase kuna amikan khopor pai ase to itu press conference to kinika julibuli ase aibi amikan itu laga detail report sai sabo.
Good morning, all the friends from the media. I have here with me Mr. Bjp'S, who is the chairperson of our communications department. On my right, we have the newest member of the Congress family. It is Mr. Khekashe Sumi, who we will welcome in the family by the end of this program. And we have Mr. Yangar Longkumar, who is the spokesperson of the party, and we have my colleague Sujata Paul from the AICC. And before I go on to the agenda of the day, I have the newspaper, the Nagaland Post in front of me, and what we see here is Alam quits as NDPP working president. Mr. Alam Temshi Jamir has quit and has cited the reason. He said the NDPP has denigrated to mere material power and political considerations and devoid of democratic discussions and values, and that is exactly where I'm going to take it from. And to set the context, I'm reminded of this poem by one renowned poet, the ageless poem, When They Came for the Jews. When they came for the Jews, I did not speak because I was not a Jew. First they came for the socialists and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me and there was no one to speak out for me. Those are the words of Martin Niemöller, and with this, let me begin today's agenda, my friends. The word Adivasi means first inhabitants. This word, Adivasi, the first inhabitants of Mother Nature, the blessed children of Mother Nature, this term Adivasi embodies the saga of strength of the Naga people and the 704 other tribal people in this country. But that is the word the BJP has a problem with. BJP, the friends of the NDPP, the friends of Nephew Rio. While Naga identity is your true pride that the Congress has ever stood for, it is the same identity, my friends, that the dear friends of the NDPP, the BJP has a problem with, as I said. You see, the BJP is, an expert of renaming. You must have seen the headlines recently, a couple of days ago. Mughal gardens, ages-old Mughal gardens in the Rashtrapati Bhavan, in the President's house in Delhi, were renamed to Amrit Udyan. The Rajpath was last year renamed to Kartavya Path. And the ages-old agenda of the BJP in Nagaland is to rename, of the RSS, is to rename Adivasis to Vanvasi, because they want to reduce the first inhabitants of Mother Nature to being mere forest dwellers. And this is leading me to my agenda of the day, which is the Draconian laws of the government. While the corruption-laden Rio government, my friends, has shown the way into the Operation Lotus, I held a press conference on the 23rd of January at Kohima. On that day, I had enlightened the people of Nagaland about one of the biggest scams in the history of Nagaland, where 70 crores of public money has been siphoned in the name of the High Court. The High Court scam that has led, the BJP into Nagaland via Assam. Today, what we talk about is how the Chief Minister has become obsequious to the BJP, following into the steps of Assam and Meghalaya. Meghalaya recently, just yesterday you've seen how in Meghalaya the BJP is taken over and how they have defied their friends, old friends, ex-friends and allies. And that's not a lone example. I would say that Meghalaya is not a lone example. In fact, it is preceded recently by Maharashtra, you would remember. It is preceded by Haryana, BJP has walked on the same terms. Whoever, it is a matter of history, my friends, and the NDPP, I'm raising this alarm for the NDPP also, that whoever has allied with the BJP in the past has actually gone extinct. Haryana, Punjab, I was mentioning. You would remember the Shiromani Akali Dal and how during the Draconian laws of the farm laws, how one Lok Sabha MP had actually raised that issue, and then the Shiromani Akali Dal broke away from the BJP. Kashmir, you would not forget. And Bihar, the newest example, however, where it was the other way around. Mr. Nitish Kumar was futuristic enough to see how the BJP was playing, and so he did. He made the BJP taste his own medicine, taste their own medicine. Now, recently, my friends, when Mr. Rahul Gandhi was walking from Kanyakumari to Kashmir, when he met the people of this country on every mile as he walked along, and besides, the Nagaland Pradesh Congress Committee walked from Kohima to Kigwema. Our leaders came across people from all sorts of indigenous tribes. They heard their issues, they heard their plight, they heard their concerns about the Draconian laws of Uniform Civil Code. They heard their concerns about Citizenship Amendment Act, National Register of Citizens, and the Forest Rights Act also. However, for today, this conference, we'll focus on the Uniform Civil Code. Since 1998, I must apprise all of you of this. Since 1998, the central government, now the central government of the BJP that was sitting in the opposition at that point in time, the BJP has actually demanded this Uniform Civil Code. Their agenda, abrogation of 370, Ram Mandir is now done away with. 2024 is going to be about the Uniform Civil Code. They want to Hinduize, mind this term, they want to Hinduize the ways of marriage, divorce, succession, adoption, guardianship and inheritance in this country. Hinduize the ways of these ways of life. The BJP knows only one color, my friends. And that one color is saffron, the first color of the tricolor, which is why they actually disapproved. Their Guru Golwalkar disapproved of the tricolor. They said Hindus will never accept the tricolor. And that saffron color is what they want to paint upon the entire country and our diversity. They are in negligence of the second color of the tricolor, which is white, which depicts the unity in diversity, the inclusivity of the indigenous cultures that this largest democracy of the world nurtures under its wings. Now, I've been saying all of this, and you would think that what is my source of, the BJP often questions, the friends from media will often question, why do I say this? I will remind you of a remark by Mr. Rajesh Das. Who is Mr. Rajesh Das? Mr. Rajesh Das is the organization's secretary of Vanvasi Kalyan Ashram, an outfit run by the Rashtriya Swayam Sevak Sangh RSS in the northeastern region of this country. So Mr. Rajesh Das had a couple of years ago proclaimed, and I'll read it out, we consider every tribe to be a part of Hindu or Sanatan Dharma. We consider all Vanvasis a part of this larger Dharma. We'll see what happens to them after 100 or 200 years. And now, at this moment as we talk, we are sitting amidst those 100 or 200 years, my friends. And one must note what is going on. During 1960s, if you recall, when the RSS and the VHP, the Vishwa Hindu Parishad, began to forge its Hindu supremacist ideology on the minds of the non-Christian Heraka Nagas, thus followed by the glorification and projection of Rani Gedindu, who was dearly given that obsequiate by none other than Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, who also gave recognition to Nagaland as a state of the biggest democracy of the world, saving it the vulnerability that it would have otherwise been rendered. in. So this glorification and projection of Rani Gedonliu, projecting it as if it is the BJP or the RSS or the Hindu culture which led her to do what she did, the remarkable movement that she led against the British. Then recently, I'm talking about the history and now I'm bringing you to the present situation. Now what is happening? This glorification is happening, this including the Nagas into the Sanatan Dharma is happening. Now, where they are headed, you would see that more recently multiple institutes by Patanjali in the area of the northeastern states, leading to BJP's resolve of the ultimate Hindu Rashtra, is being executed. And one must remember that one of the biggest pieces of land measuring 1200 acres, that's not a small piece of land, especially in the bordering states of Northeast. 1200 acres, my friend, have been given to Patanjali free of cost. Although nowadays we see that the mindset of the cult Baba Ramdev seems to be shifting after the yatra. Yatra has, caused that dent on these lakhs of crores of rupees and this strategy that the BJP was forging on the, in pursuit of its Hindu resolve. Now, while the BJP will swear on Hindu, uniform civil code in the general elections of 2024, and in view of the history that I've been talking about, in view of the mission that I've been talking about, one must remember that it will be doing so in deliberate ignorance of the unique identity of each of 17 Naga tribes out of 705 total recognized tribes across the country. Hence, a draconian law like the Uniform Civil Code is driven by the Hindu nation resolve of the BJP. And it doesn't end at Northeast region, at the states of Seven Sisters. Let me tell you that. It goes beyond. It goes to Myanmar. You go to the websites of the BJP and the RSS and read a little deeper and you will find out. A draconian law like the Uniform Civil Code, when it is driven by the Hindu national resolve of the BJP and the RSS, directly attacking the identity of 104 million people of scheduled tribes that comprise 8.6% of the total population of this country, which again, another pothole that I am going to indicate at. The census last happened in 2011 and the BJP is deliberately delaying it. So the numbers that we have at hand are only projected numbers because we don't have the actual numbers, and the Nagas would actually number much more if the census was held today. But the BJP government, in its pursuit of Hindu national resolve, doesn't want to hold that census. In a border-bound state like Nagaland, the Draconian Law of Citizenship Amendment Act, after Uniform Civil Code, let me also briefly touch at Citizenship Amendment Act and the National Register of Citizens. These acts, if they were executed, if the Supreme Court did not intervene, what would happen? And what is bound to happen? It will compel the innocent people of Nagaland, the non-Nagas, the minorities of Nagaland, many of whose ancestors came to this beautiful land generations ago. They'll be rendered homeless. You know what is happening in the state of Assam. Because they'll not be able to show the papers that the BJP is asking for, because they won't be able to show that, that they have lived in this country, that they are very much a part of this country. When a Rishi Sunak becomes a prime minister in the country of Britain, we take pride. Then why don't we take pride in the migrants of this country, generations of whom have, lived this land, have walked this land, have added value to this land, share a symbiotic relationship with the people of Nagaland and elsewhere. Now guilty of brazenly breaching trust of its PDP, of its ally PDP in Jammu and Kashmir. The gist of everything that I am saying, that I have remarked so far, is the breach, the deception, the defiance that the BJP renders upon each of its allies. In Kashmir, what has happened, and where Nagaland is headed, mind you, The PDP, the People's Democratic Party in Jammu and Kashmir, was, torn apart from the alliance unethically, and the BJP did not have numbers, So, President's rule happened. And till date, after the unconstitutional abrogation of 370, of Article 370, the state of Jammu and Kashmir awaits an election, awaits its full statehood, awaits for the right to vote, awaits for a voice. And you would remember it was almost above a year that there was no internet, there was no media allowed. Just yesterday, Siddiq Kappan got released in Kerala. The journalist who's been behind the bars for 2 years, and this must be an alarm for the members of the media and for the citizens of this country. So, the state is now bereft of statehood, the state of Kashmir. And now what is happening in Nagaland? The Enforcement Directorate, as I also pointed out in my last press conference, has reached the office of the Chief Minister, Mr. Nefirio. And so, the state of Nagaland is bound to meet the same fate if Mr. Nefirio doesn't bow down to the ways of the BJP, or let's say if he doesn't choose to, and we can clearly see that he's choosing to, which is why Mr. Alamteshi has left his, his company, because that's what the NDPP is doing here. So, the NDPP is bound to meet the same fate as the PDP in Kashmir, leading the people of Nagaland to the dungeons of draconian laws like the UCC, CAA and NRC. And more recently, the fate of NPP in the state of Meghalaya and 3 other allies, you would know. What has happened to to the CM, Mr. Sangma, you would better know. And BJP has yet again dumped across the states those who are responsible for their very existence. Friends, you must note here, the model of the Operation Lotus is that they come to a state forging alliance with the local players. They play upon their strengths. They pull them into circumstances where they can be blackmailed, made to sit before the very institutions that the center controls today, the constitutional institutions that the center controls today, unethically so, illegally so, and then those allies are left helpless, leaving their people vulnerable. The people who placed their faith in the regional parties, opting them above the national parties, thinking that these regional parties, their leaders will represent their interests well. However, not knowing the innocent people of Nagaland, that Mr. Rio would lead them astray like this. Now, so this is the Kashmir model of Operation Lotus, as I pointed out. And it is sad that outcome will be abrogation of 371A, I fear, in Nagaland. Abrogation of 370 has happened on the same line in Kashmir. We fear that there could be abrogation of 371A tomorrow if there's a uniform civil code, if the Hindu national resolve of the BJP meets its conclusion. It's important to point out here that even your former chief minister from the NPF, Dr. Sharojele Lezitsu, who had, on one hand called the BJP the natural ally of the NPF, has admitted, and I'm quoting him, that there are elements fiercely and furiously doing the utmost to pierce the Trishul, the trident, into the heartland of Christ. Are we going to make the Christ bleed once again? That's the question we need to ask in our conscience to ourselves. While we at the Congress, we've been marching for the very protection of the Constitution, for every community of India that exists in this democracy, which protects us, protects all identities, protects the identity of Nagas, which is so dear to the rest of the country. We are marching against the draconian vision of this government. We are marching against the love of Rio government for the draconian ways of this government. And we want to leave you with these 5 questions, my friends. My Naga friends, I want to address each one of you when I ask each one of these 5 questions, and I want you to raise these questions in your heart from your own self. Will CM Rio allow the Hindu national resolve of this question is to the Chief Minister. Mr. CM, will you allow the Hindu national resolve of the BJP to pierce through the indigenous culture, the unique culture of the Nagas? Or will you speak up, Mr. CM? If not now, then when? Will Nagas allow politics of slogan to overpower the politics of indigenous rights? Will the inherently so strong Naga community stand with their migrant brothers and sisters now when they need it? And I'll remind you of the Martin Niemöller poem that I recited in the beginning. When they came for the Jews, I did not speak up because I was not a Jew. Will the voters of Nagaland stand against the politics of polarization, hatred, and Hinduization, as I said, of their cultures? I don't think so. Will the Nagas, most importantly, stand up for their origin to oust a weak government which is bound to leave them vulnerable? With these words, I will remind you that the Congress's resolve has always been to strengthen the voice of the Naga people, and it remains so. Whether it is in the assembly or outside, we've been sitting out of the assembly for quite some time now. Yet, relentlessly, our voice is the voice of the people of Nagaland. And we'll continue to stand up for the protection of the rights, for the indigenous culture that this land represents. And now, ladies and gentlemen, with these questions, with a bit of soul-stirring exercise that each one of us must do henceforth, I would like to announce a good news. We have on my right Mr. Khekashe Shumi, the newest member of the Congress party, as I indicated earlier. In this, the spirit of true brotherhood and solidarity that the Congress party embodies within it, the same spirit has driven Mr. Khekashe Shumi, our brother, to leave behind an ideology where he felt he did not belong, and to incline himself with the ideology of the Congress party. He is from the constituency of Akuloto in district Zuneboto. We welcome you, Mr. Khekashe Shumi, to the Congress family today. I would, before I hand over the mic to Mr. Shumi to address all of us about what is it that has motivated him, that has driven him to incline with this ideology. In fact, this is a homecoming for him. I must tell you that he belongs to a family of Congress legacy. His in-laws, his wife's side is, the members of that family are two former ministers, Shri Sema and Shri Kheto Shumi. So we welcome you. We welcome you as a voice of change in Zuneboto, Mr. Shumi. Please.
Itia, Madam Bra sob koise, English pra koi dise, itu bra ami Nagamis pra olop itu kan sob manu Madam Bra kodu na bujibo, kile mani Naga manu sob Nagamisi biship itu cholai thake, itu bra ami Nagamis pra olop koi dibo. Madam Bra hudia ase Naga manu kan ge CM la BJP bra ki itu indigenous or unique culture of Naga karni atai itu kothok rubon no korbo itu tai hudi thakise. Ami khan do itu to reo to kitabe itu ami khan la Naga manu karni itu to kobo na parbo itu to ami khan sob itu 20 years tiki government kurigina aise or last 2018 bra itia tak 2013 tak BJP alliance te government kurigina aha to itu to ami khan to tai la opor itu to biswas to nai tai to itu to ami khan karni to Naga manu karni tai itu to kitabi itu kotha ami khan Naga manu karni itu kotha to kobo na parbo tai to. Or secondly, Madam Uti Thagatu, will Naga allow politics of slogan to overpower the policies of indigenous right? Ami khan la indigenous right karni to ami khan power politics aro itu power khan ba itu ami khan ke itu nash kurbo na dibo lage. Ami khan itu te khara kurbo lage. Since this Communist Party is like, for me, it's like a homecoming. Since Naga statehood, 1963, in our constituency from 31 AC, we elect Mr. Khekashe Sema who was former CM and governor, and Mr. Sema, who was deputy CM, and Mr. Keto, who was former minister 2008 to 13, and again after him 2018 to 23, Mr. Khekashe. So all these leaders from our constituency, and they contest from Congress, and they were elected from the Congress party. And this is like, for me, this is like homecoming. And I want to work what they have left, their legacy. I want to carry that.
Theirs is a government which does not care. They have this I don't care attitude. And this happens when an opposition-less government is in place. And that is the reason that they don't answer to any allegations which are made on them. And secondly, they know that they are in the wrong. What answer will they give? So they are only hiding behind the power that the people have given them. And that means that they have failed the people, and that means the accusations that we have made on Mr. Rio, Mr. Jacob are all true. If you go through the internet also, you'll see that the Congress party has consistently made the allegations. Maybe they are now out in the open because of election season. Also, more people are talking about it. If you see what has happened to the Colosseum, I mean, people are talking about it. People are giving us all the love possible because we are raising their issues, and they are standing by us. And if you see what they are commenting on social media, proves that people are questioning the Rio government on the corruption that they have indulged in. Everybody is talking about it. There are no roads over here. Who is denying it? When you come for a press conference here, you know you are in Dimapur. But you step out of Dimapur, go to Newland, and there's nothing. But you go to Somiva village. It's like Somiva Valley. Oh, there's a beautiful stadium, and the contractor, the owner, the board president seem to be one person. So, who is that person? We will come back to you with that also. We are consistently raising people's issues, and that is one thing that the Congress has done in spite of not being there in the assembly, but it has played the role of an opposition.
Let me say here, we have made accusations on the High Court. You asked me about the accusations right now. When we talked about the High Court, Dr. Chamban Mary has responded. In fact, I was going through the responses to my press conference, and it was very interesting to see. And I think he's one of the legislators, and I think he's the Law and Justice Secretary also. He holds a post there, and he says that anybody who wants to, he responds directly to me, and I'd like to talk directly to Dr. Chamban Mary, and I'd like to say that it was just 5-6 months ago that your governor, Mr. Mukhi, had actually, raised his discontentment, disappointment about that project. Yet, you say that you can come with me to see that it is 95% complete. We've been hearing that for the past almost 3 years, and it was only earlier in the year 2022 that the CM and his allies were made to sit before the Enforcement Directorate. A scam that makes the Chief Minister sit before the Enforcement Directorate at the behest of the BJP leaves the Nagaland people, Nagaland citizens very vulnerable.
तो कांग्रेस लगा प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस तो दाते खत्म होइसे और आपने आन हुनी पाइसे एडवोकेट महिमा सिंह AICC कोऑर्डिनेटर और सुचेता पॉल AICC कोऑर्डिनेटर और इतु निना कांग्रेस लगा ऑफिस ते और पार्टी दे केकाशी सुमी Akuloto laga constituency tai Congress di join kora laga itu tangor khopor ekta paise aro AICC coordinator Mahima Singh bra Naga manuhan ke aro chief minister ke directly question korishi ki juntu tai bra etia BJP logot mili kina jai ase itu bra Naga laga rights aro cultures te future te hamper tangor hobole ase kona jani paise aro itu nuina Kashmir de hoa nishina ami khan Nagaland de Article 371 clause junto special status paina se itu dakpi effect hobole laga takan assumption koas bolibi itu to takan laga opinion ko laga oporde amikan huni paise aro itu nuina Khekashe sumi junto Akuloto constituency laga ase tai hopeful ase gona tai kushi ki tai Congress laga ticket pabo aro itu nuina press conference te ko ado kun manu helebi Congress party de join kuru mon jale takan do open arms khuli kina rakhibo aro ami kan sob hopeful ase ki kali that is 4th of February Congress laga ticket issue kuribole ami kan huni pai ase open arms takan rakha matlab takan kun join koribo mon ase itu welcome koribo holibi tickets issue koribole time itu higher ups authorities kan bra bhalbar scrutiny korina bhalbar saikina takan bi winnable candidates kan ki ticket dibo laga assurance paise ami an itia notun development ekta pa do Congress leader Bhavan khera tai Dimapur te kali aina land kuribo aro itu office te press conference address korina Kohima jabuli laga khopor pai ase aro itu pasote ticket issue laga khopor to olabo nagi korna ami kan jani pai ase but moreover koanishna Congress can all out itia ruling government logot kan acquisition species dia ase apuni kan huni paise holibi yade Congress laga party dibi itia ticket issue laga charcha oporde beshi takan bi itia kurum environment chuli ase aro koanishna moi remind kore ase 4th of February Kohima head office pura takan party ticket issue kurulaga khopor pai ase we are very fortunate ami kan logot yadi sir Khekashe sumi huna nishna tai Akuloto constituency bra contest kuribole ase guna ami kan jani pai ase aro itu noingna tai Congress ticket to assured ase guna tai press conference ti kuise to ani sir apuni ki hudibole mon thaka do apuni homecoming nishina ase guna apuni press conference ti kuise libi the decision apuni to Congress to join gado kile itu late decision to ki ekta ase apuni opinion olop koi dibina
sob to limit thake holibi Nagaland ita to corruption to limit na thaka hoise even sky has a limit holibi Nagaland ita to corruption to limit na thaka hoise etu karni etu changes anibole etu ami ke Akuloto pura iku nai ami late holibi Akuloto de supporter khan bra ami khan ki holibi duk suk holibi ami apni khan ki etu manila culture to rakhi kina ami khan clean election candidate hogina apni ke support kurbo kabra ami to etu Congress e right party bhabise ami to secular party ase aro ami to corruption against corruption fight kuribole ami to Congress ti join kurse
to election related matters karni kopor pabole apni global window sai thakibe moi ase Singh Mayer moila video journalist ase Zuchan reporting from Congress Bhavan Dimapur